Awesome. I'm Heather Berg. I'm a digital equity specialist here at Accessible Web, and I'm going to be joined by my colleague presenting this afternoon, Isabella Logan. She is a member of our Web Accessibility Specialist team. So I'm going to go ahead and start us off with the first slide here, which is going to be just an overview of our topic for today. So first, we're going to talk about what is the European Accessibility Act. And then we're going to be moving into why are we talking about it now in particular? Who needs to comply? What businesses and industry sectors? How to comply, both technical and non-technical requirements. Are there any possible exceptions to compliance with the EAA? We'll talk about enforcement and risks and penalties for non-compliance. We'll move then into how, in particular, Accessible Web's RAMP Compliance Center can help you along your accessibility journey. And we'll wrap up with other ways Accessible Web's products and services can help you out and follow that with a Q&A. So before we move to the next slide, I just want to take a second and add a quick legal disclaimer here. So at Accessible Web, we are digital accessibility experts. We are not legal experts. We possess a working knowledge of these global accessibility laws and regulations. It's always very important to remember that you should consult legal experts for your particular use case and geographical region of the world. Our discussion today is going to focus on top-level requirements that are present across all of the 27 member states. But it's important to note that each individual member state will need to incorporate the EAA framework into their own laws, and they will likely have some unique interpretations and applications along the way. So always be sure to educate and inform yourself about that as well. All right, so with that out of the way, I'm going to hand it over to Isabella for our next slide to tell us what is the European Accessibility Act.
So, what is the EAA? The EAA is a directive aimed at improving accessibility within the European Union. In April 2019, it was formally adopted by the EU. In 2022, EU member states had a deadline to transpose the EAA into their national law. However, many members did not comply with that deadline and are still working on transposing it. The enforcement of the EAA starts on June 28th, 2025 for any new products and services, while existing products and services need to comply by June 28th, 2030. Okay, I'm going to hand it back off to Heather to talk about why we're talking about the EAA now.
Yeah, so why are we covering this particular topic at this point in time? So an obvious reason is Isabella just mentioned we have an upcoming enforcement deadline on June 28th of 2025 for all 27 member states. Another reason, and perhaps the most important, is the basic human right of equitable access to digital products, services, and information for individuals with disabilities has been present all along and to date remains unmet. And then third, providing accessible products and services is just good business. It can help build brand awareness and customer loyalty while aligning well with any current social responsibility efforts that your company might already have in place. And I'm going to hand it back to Isabella for our next slide.
Okay, so who must comply with the EAA? So all sector entities must comply with the EAA. This includes every government agency, educational institutions, healthcare providers, public transportation, law enforcement, and emergency services. Private sector businesses must comply as well. This includes e-commerce platforms, financial institutions, telecommunication companies, entertainment and media companies, and software development. The EAA doesn't just affect web accessibility. It affects things like ATMs, ticketing machines, television broadcasts, audiovisual services, ebooks, and more all need to comply with the EAA. It also affects any company providing goods or services to EU. So it doesn't matter which country your organization is based in. If it does business within the EU member states, it needs to comply with the EAA. So we're going to move on to our next slide, which is about the technical requirements of the EAA. So primarily the EA aligns with EN 301549 and WCAG 2.1 level AA. So EN 301549 is the European standard for accessibility when it comes to ICT products and services. It covers a wide range of disabilities, and it also covers a wide range of different ICTs like hardware such as telecommunication devices and ATMs, then biometrics, and then it also includes non-web-based content such as a PDFs or other types of documents. WCAG 2.1 level AA is the internationally recognized standard for web accessibility. It primarily focuses on mobile and web content. So I'm going to hand it back over to Heather to talk about EA beyond the technical compliance.
Awesome. So yeah, the European Accessibility Act takes a holistic functional outcomes-based approach to providing accessibility. The EAA includes several key provisions and mandates for compliance that go way beyond just the technical WCAG conformance. Within the framework of the EAA, these requirements are referred to as functional performance statements. And these functional performance statements lean into some core principles of accessibility. And the first set that they really rely on are the core principles of WCAG. It just extends and applies those to closed systems and ICT hardware in addition to websites and mobile applications. And so these principles are perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. And with the provision of these things, it enables that everyone, in particular individuals with disabilities, can navigate and interact independently. On to our next slide. Additionally, these functional performance statements also rely heavily on the 7 principles of universal design in the built environment. This is a little bit out of scope for the work we do at Accessible Web, but I think it's important to know that they exist as they may well be affecting your business. A few specific examples here include, but certainly are not limited to, ease of maneuverability, room for maneuverability, simple understandable instructions or directions, error avoidance and easy error correction, and operability without use of pinch or grasp. Furthermore, the EAA, this is the next slide. Furthermore, the EAA supports building a cross-border culture of access and inclusion for users with disabilities by mandating the following. First of all, businesses need to have accessible customer service and support. And that is an example of that would be things like multiple channels or means of communication. We recently did a webinar here from Accessible Web on that exact topic, so feel free to visit our archive for information there. Businesses also need to provide ongoing documentation of accessibility policies, procedures, services, and any progress being made and future enhancements to those services. They need to be performing regular accessibility testing with results and remediation plans made publicly available. If you are providing an accessible product or service, that product or service must be accompanied by documentation, user guides, installation guides, help in troubleshooting, solutions, all in accessible formats. Covered entities need to be providing accessibility training and education to their employees, requires businesses be prepared to provide reasonable modifications and effective communication to customers with disabilities if something is not accessible in the moment. Businesses must have an accessibility statement in an easy to find location on their website. And finally, they must have an easy to access and use mechanism for accessibility barrier reporting from customers or users. So, with all of that said, are there any exceptions to the European Accessibility Act? Uh, and I want to offer a couple of concepts here before we go through any potential exceptions. The first is to say that exceptions should be reserved specifically for the conditions that they are intended to account for and never be used as a reason for non-compliance. And even though any business or entity with digital or hardware ICT assets that are exempt for some reason, even still, they should be implementing accessibility best practices and striving to improve their accessibility in the future. I'm going to hand it back for the next slide to Isabella, and she's going to tell us what some possible exceptions could be.
Perfect. So there are some possible exceptions to the EAA. So time-based video recordings that were produced prior to June 28th, 2025. The most common type of exemption will be for micro enterprises. These are businesses with less than 2 million, less than 10 full-time employees and part-time employees and annual revenue less than 10 million euros per year. Some examples could be small local businesses, freelancers, and startups in their early stages. Another type of exemption is going to be the disproportionate burden clause. This clause allows organizations to deviate from the EAA when the organization can demonstrate that they would have a disproportionate burden in meeting the standards. Um, Organizations are required to meet the accessibility standards up until the point that they aren't able to. If disproportionate burden is enacted, that doesn't mean an organization gets a pass from adhering to EAA. Organizations still have to work towards accessibility. There are several factors that go into the decision of approving a disproportionate burden. Factors such as cost, size resources, and whether a product or service would have to be fundamentally altered go into consideration when determining the disproportionate burden. These are all figured out by different economic formulas that are very complex. Most organizations are not going to meet the requirements to enact a disproportionate burden clause, meaning that you still have to comply to the EAA. So I'm going to move on to the next slide, which is going to be about risk, penalties, and enforcement. Each EU member state has its own authority over the enforcement of the EAA. There are many different risks and penalties associated with noncompliance. For some financial penalties, these differ based off the EU member state that's enforcing them. So most are either going to be fines per violation or a daily penalty fine for non-conformance. There can also be a risk of increased legal costs. Defending an EAA lawsuit will cost more than making your business accessible. And then there can also be a loss of business. There are many reputational damages that can be caused by a lack of accessibility. In an environment where there is a lot of competition among businesses, a lack of accessibility is noticeable and could turn customers towards competitors. So with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Heather.
Awesome. So now we're going to take a look at how Accessible Web's RAMP Compliance Center can help you meet some of these legal obligations. So first off, RAMP is Accessible Web's accessibility project management platform. And a key component of that platform is Compliance Center. Compliance Center guides users step by step along their legal compliance journey. Users can pre-select laws or regulations affecting your business specifically, or if you're unsure, you can take a short quiz for suggested laws to apply. Following selection of the relevant laws, Compliance Center walks users through a series of measurable actions and tasks that they can take, ensuring that their legal obligations are being met. Moving on to the next slide now, we'll speak specifically to some certain areas of the EAA that Compliance Center can be most helpful with. So the first one is that you'll be able to download a European Accessibility Act resource guide to read and review and keep up with along the way. You'll be able to assign an accessibility advocate from your organization, create an accessibility page and statement, which, if you remember, was one of the functional performance statements. You'll be able to set up automated site scanning where you can start getting a baseline on your website's accessibility. You'll be able to conduct and track manual WCAG audits if you are performing those internally or with a web accessibility specialist from Accessible Web. And then finally, you'll also be able to access automatic logging of accessibility issues reported and progress made towards remediation, helping you generate that documentation paper trail that we also mentioned earlier. That is a requirement. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and hand things over to Gianna from our sales team, who's going to tell you a little bit more about Accessible Web's products and services beyond Compliance Center.
Awesome. Yeah, so in addition to the Compliance Center, I mean, we have RAMP, which is a comprehensive kind of portal for all of your accessibility needs and essential management for both ongoing monitoring, those compliance considerations for various regulations globally, and on logging the remediation progress as you'd go, and then manual auditing as well. And then in addition to that, we offer services, as Heather mentioned, so we can help you put together these VPAT reports. We can do the initial assessment for you and populate that manual audit grid to start getting you into the place you need to be for EAA conformance. Let's see.